Picture a random building you know or like. There's a good chance LA has one in the same style. No other city in the world really has such an eclectic mismatch of styles like LA has. Even some of those buildings, against all reason, are in the style of a futuristic Kentucky. And to get to the origins of why this is, we need to go back to the era of the last episode of this show. In the early days of California, there's not really a set architectural style because California is so new. You just have like classic wooden Western-esque buildings. And then get this, around 1850 to 1915 is this style, and a lot of buildings are done like this, Mission Revival style. Around 1850s, people are trying to figure out a first uniform style to start building in, and they look to the Spanish missions that have been left around the state for inspiration. It is based on the missions in a very romantic way, AKA less Jesus-y and less indigenous murdery. But the main detail that's important here is California's first unique architecture is a thematic, imagined ideal of a different time and different culture. And right now we're at the Mission Inn in Riverside, which is known as being basically the prime example of the movement. This hotel is amazing. It overcomes being in Riverside. The guy who built it, he just did not stop building it, and it's a labyrinth. And there's like a Japanese temple in it for some reason. It is one of the coolest places in Southern California. There's just so much detail, and it's all such a beautiful cluster. Okay, so we're back in the 20s. Mission Revival style is the brace between old and new architecture in California. And what comes out of Mission Revival style is the classic Spanish architecture we all know, which is called Spanish Colonial style, which is, just being extremely glib here, the slender version of Mission Revival. It's the heart of Southern California, tile roofs, plaster walls, bougainvilleas. Did I say that right?
Nope.
Bougainvillea. Just what you think of when you think of a Spanish home. And we gotta get out of the street, unfortunately. It's hitting like 4 o'clock, so it's probably like people coming home and stuff. Okay, so if you think about standard housing in every other American city at this time, it's like tallish, brickish, fancy-ish buildings. But what happens in California is, in 1915, San Diego gets the World's Fair. The fairgrounds are the very first thing done in this style, and those fairgrounds are so popular, people are like, this is hotcakes for architecture, and it kind of just spreads from there. People are literally like, this is the new architecture of California, let's build everything in this style. Housing demand is crazy in LA, and they're trying to build as many structures as they can really fast, and it's seen as really eclectic and tacky to people with money from back east. And they're like, we don't want to live in this weird. It's kind of weird. It's basically the abstract modern planed structure you see everywhere, like those stupid apartments that I'll cut to right now. Housing developers don't know what to do. LA is expanding very fast, and they're trying to keep up with the demand. And so what they do is something kind of kooky. They turn to Hollywood set designers for inspiration of new housing. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Hey, Austin, how are you? Well, this is sort of this fantasy that we're creating of LA, and it's based on films, and it's based on sort of, we have all this creativity. We can sort of do whatever we want. Why not build a Norman Revival or Gothic Revival mansion, you know, next to a palm tree? And people were creating a whole new place.
You get a lot of very mimic architectural styles, and it's all over the board, and this is something very specific to Los Angeles. Because of California's dry and mild weather, you're not limited architecturally by the elements. So, like, you have chateaus, you have storybook cottages, there's quite a few Egyptian apartment complexes, and people's graves, Chinese architecture, Japanese architecture, Moorish architecture. And I'm going to show you more shots of this place just because I think the Compton Mausoleum is super cool. Mediterranean. There's like a Mayan theater. We saw like a Swiss one down there.
Or, you know, city halls and great deco that sort of at the top has a pyramid, so sort of Egyptian revival. Nothing really beats going to Union Station, looking at Mission Revival meets Art Deco. For me, that's the more rewarding thing, because you're in a building that has an impact on literally millions of people.
Basically, any type of architecture you can think of, there's probably a 1920s or 30s version of it in Los Angeles.